Welcome to Life Stories Network, where real emotions meet unforgettable stories. Today's story will make you question love, loyalty, and how far family should go for money. When I first started earning well, I thought I'd finally bought myself some peace. After years of scraping by, doing side jobs, skipping dinners to save money, and watching my mom favor my brother, I thought success would fix things. Turns out, it only made everything worse. I had just landed a big promotion. It doubled my salary, and I could finally move out of my tiny apartment into something a little more comfortable. It wasn't a mansion, but it was mine. A small 2-bedroom condo with sunlight in the mornings and quiet at night. I loved that silence more than anything, because growing up, silence never existed in our house. My mom used to say, "You're the quiet one," but quiet people never get far. She said it like it was a curse. My brother Ethan was the loud one, the golden child, the one who always had her attention. If he failed a class, Mom would blame the teacher. If I got an A, she'd ask why it wasn't an A+. That's how it was. So when my life started turning around, I didn't tell her. I didn't tell anyone. I kept my promotion, my raise, and my new place a secret. I just wanted peace. For once, but secrets in families don't stay buried for long. It started when I posted a photo on Instagram. Nothing flashy. Just me sitting at my kitchen counter with a cup of coffee. The background showed my new condo, and apparently that was enough for my mom to start asking questions. The first message came the next morning. "Nice place. Where is this?" she wrote. I didn't reply right away. I knew where this was going. Then another message came a few hours later. "You moved? When were you going to tell your family?" I typed and deleted a few responses before finally saying, "Yeah, I moved recently. Just needed a change." That night, she called. "You got a promotion, didn't you?" She said, "No hello, no how are you?" I froze. "Why do you think that?" "Because you couldn't afford a place like that before. Don't play dumb with me. I'm your mother." Her tone had that sharp edge I remembered from childhood, the one that meant she wasn't asking, she was demanding. I sighed and admitted, "Yes, I got promoted." There was silence. Then she said, "Good. You should come by this weekend. Your brother has been struggling and we need to talk." That phrase, "we need to talk," made my stomach tighten. I'd heard it too many times. It always meant I was about to lose something. I tried to avoid it. I told her I was busy, but she showed up anyway. 2 days later, she and Ethan were at my door, smiling like they'd just won a prize. I opened the door and she looked around the condo like she was inspecting a hotel room. "Wow, you've done well for yourself," she said. "Didn't think you'd manage this on your own." Ethan just plopped on my couch like he owned it. He was scrolling through his phone, not even pretending to be polite. "Nice TV," he said. "Mine broke last week." Mom walked to the kitchen, opened a cabinet, then the fridge like she was checking inventory. "You even have bottled water now," she said. "Fancy," I forced a smile. "Can I get you something to drink?" She waved her hand. "No, sit. We need to talk." I sat across from her, already knowing this was about money. "It always was. Ethan's having a tough time," she began. "He lost his job last month and rent is due. You know how expensive things are." Ethan didn't even look up. "Yeah, my landlord's a jerk," he said. "He doesn't care I'm between jobs." I said, "That's rough." "I'm sorry to hear that." Mom leaned forward. So I told him you could help. "You've got a good job now, right? A steady income? Family helps family." There it was. I stayed quiet. I didn't want to explode, but I could feel my pulse rising. "Mom, I just started paying off my own debts." "I can't," she cut me off. "Debts? You have a new place, a new car, and a better job. What debts could you possibly have?" "The ones you don't know about," I said flatly. She frowned. "You're being selfish. You know your brother's had a hard life." That line made me laugh bitterly. "A hard life? He's never paid a bill in his life. Every time he messed up, you bailed him out. When I asked for help in college, you said I should learn responsibility." Her voice rose. "Don't talk to me like that. I did my best for both of you." "No, you did your best for him," I said. Ethan finally looked up. "Man, you don't have to make it personal. It's just a loan. Chill." I stared at him. "You've never paid anyone back in your life." He shrugged. "Then think of it as a gift." That's when I stood up. "Get out!" Mom looked stunned. "What did you say?" I said, "Get out. You came here thinking I'd hand over money because you think I owe you." "I don't." Her eyes narrowed. "You wouldn't even have that job if I hadn't raised you. You owe me everything. That sentence hit me hard. Not because it was true, but because she believed it. Every bit of my success, in her mind, was hers. They left that night furious. She slammed the door so hard it echoed through the hall. I thought it was over. I was wrong. The next day, my phone didn't stop buzzing. Texts, calls, voicemails. She told everyone in our family that I'd turned my back on them, that I was too rich to care. My aunt even called me to say I should be ashamed. I spent the weekend in silence, trying not to lose my mind. By Monday, I started to calm down. I went to work, buried myself in projects, and tried to forget the chaos. Then, that Friday evening, there was a knock on my door again. I looked through the peephole. It was her. Again. This time, she was holding a small box, and Ethan was right behind her carrying a duffel bag. My stomach sank. When I opened the door, she pushed past me without a word. Ethan followed, dropped the duffel bag, and said, "So, about that help," I exhaled slowly. "What are you doing here?" Mom said, "We need a place to stay. Just for a few weeks." Ethan's landlord kicked him out, and I couldn't let my son be on the street. I blinked. "You're joking, right?" She wasn't. She was already unpacking things from the box, food, toiletries, like she planned to move in. I felt my jaw tighten. "You can't just show up and move in without asking." "I'm not asking," she said. "I'm your mother." Something inside me snapped. Years of guilt, of being the responsible one, the one who worked while Ethan got handouts. It all boiled over. "Being my mother doesn't mean you get to control my life," I said, my voice shaking. "You raised me to be responsible, and now that I am, you're punishing me for it." She glared at me, her tone cold. "You've become arrogant. You think money makes you better than family?" "It doesn't make me better," I said. "It just means I finally have boundaries," Ethan muttered. "Man, you're overreacting." "It's just a couch." "No," I said. "It's my home." He rolled his eyes. Whatever. They stayed that night despite my protests. I barely slept. Every sound from the living room reminded me that my peace had been invaded again. In the morning, I found Ethan eating my food, leaving crumbs all over the counter, and Mom rearranging my furniture to make it cozier. I stood there, gripping my coffee cup, wondering how this became my life again. When I finally spoke, my voice was quiet but firm. "You both need to leave. Today." Mom looked offended. "After everything I've done for you?" "Exactly," I said. "You've done enough," Ethan scoffed. "Fine, don't help. When you're the one who needs something, don't come running." I looked at him, calm. "I've never run to you for anything." That silenced him for a moment. But Mom wasn't done. "You'll regret this," she said. "Family is forever. You can't turn your back on blood." I just nodded. "Maybe, but family isn't supposed to drain you." They left again, slamming the door even harder this time. The sound echoed through the condo, but this time I didn't feel guilt. I felt relief, or at least I thought I did, because the storm wasn't over yet. That night, a post went up on Facebook from my mom, a long rant about how her ungrateful child abandoned his family and chose money over love. People commented, shared, and some even sent me screenshots. My phone lit up like fireworks. I sat there, staring at the screen, realizing this was about more than money. It was about control. She couldn't stand that I'd stopped needing her, and the more I thought about it, the more I knew. I had to take back my story. When I saw that Facebook post, my hands actually shook. Not from fear, but from disbelief. My own mother had turned my entire family against me. The comments were brutal. "Money changes people. He forgot where he came from. Poor Ethan, what a great son." I wanted to type a reply, defend myself, but I didn't. I knew better. Online arguments never end well, especially with family watching. Still, it hurt. I had spent years trying to earn her respect, and now she was dragging my name through the dirt for sympathy. At work, I couldn't focus. Every ping from my phone felt like another hit. My coworkers noticed I was quieter than usual, but I didn't explain. I was ashamed, not because I'd done something wrong, but because I'd allowed them to walk all over me for so long. That night, I got a message from my cousin, Sarah. She said, "I know what she's doing isn't fair. If you need a place to breathe, come stay with me for a few days." I thanked her, but I said no. This time I wasn't running away. I wasn't hiding. I needed to face this the right way. 2 days later, I got another knock at the door. I hesitated before opening it. expecting round 2 of their drama. But it was my landlord instead, holding an envelope. "Hey, this was taped to your door earlier," he said. I took it, thanked him, and closed the door. Inside was a note from my mom. It read, "You embarrassed this family. If you won't help your brother, we'll help ourselves. Don't forget we have keys from your old apartment. Be careful what you leave behind." I froze. My stomach turned cold. They didn't have keys to my new place, but they still had access to some old paperwork, maybe even my mail if something was forwarded. I didn't want to believe they'd go that far, but the tone of that note was pure manipulation. That night, I went through my files, changed passwords, locked everything down. For the first time, I realized how unsafe it felt to have your own family act like strangers. The next morning, I called my bank to check for any weird activity. Thankfully, everything was fine. But emotionally, I wasn't. My hands were trembling as I hung up. It hit me how little I actually trusted them. Then came the call that changed everything. Ethan called, sounding almost casual. "Hey, bro. Look, things got heated. Mom's emotional. She just feels like you owe her a little something, you know? You could make this all go away if you just gave her a few thousand." I laughed out loud. "A few thousand? You've got some nerve," he sighed. "It's not a big deal to you now, right? You're doing fine. Think of it as keeping peace." "Peace?" I said. "You started a war," he chuckled. "Man, you're too serious. I'll tell Mom you're thinking about it." And he hung up. The next few days were a blur. My mom kept posting. People kept talking. My reputation with the extended family was shredded. A few cousins blocked me altogether. I started losing sleep. My performance at work dipped. I stopped answering calls altogether. But here's the thing about pressure. It eventually sharpens you. One night, I sat on the couch and thought about every time I'd been guilted into silence. Every birthday I was forgotten because Ethan needed something. Every dollar I'd given to keep peace. Every apology I'd made for simply setting boundaries. That's when I decided I wasn't going to play their game anymore. The next morning, I drafted an email to my mom. I kept it short, simple, and final. "Mom, I love you, but I'm done being treated like a bank. I've worked for everything I have, and I won't let guilt or manipulation take it away. I'm not cutting you off emotionally, but I am cutting the financial cord. I hope one day you understand that this isn't hate, it's self-respect." I hit send. My heart raced. It felt both terrifying and freeing. An hour later, she replied. Just one line, "Don't bother calling us again." It hurt. I'd be lying if I said it didn't. But part of me also felt relief. I wasn't her puppet anymore. A week passed. Then 2, no calls, no texts. I started sleeping better. I went to the gym again. I even reconnected with friends I'd been too drained to see. Life was slowly getting back to normal. Then, one evening, I came home to find my door slightly open. My heart dropped. I pushed it open carefully. Inside, the place looked ransacked. Drawers open, papers scattered, my laptop gone. I called the police immediately. They came, took fingerprints, and asked if I suspected anyone. I hesitated, but said, "My family." They took the report, but they couldn't do much without evidence. I changed my locks that night. I sat on the floor afterward, head in my hands, realizing how deep this had gone. A few days later, I got a message from an unknown number. It was a picture, my stolen laptop sitting on Ethan's couch. The caption read, "Next time, think twice before calling us selfish." My blood ran cold. He was taunting me. I went to the police again, this time with the photo. They were more serious now. They asked for Ethan's address and said they'd look into it. The next morning, Mom called. Her voice was sharp. "How dare you bring the police into this? He's your brother," I said quietly. "No, he's a thief." She shouted, "You're tearing this family apart." I stayed calm. "No, I'm just refusing to let you tear me apart." Then I hung up. Later that day, the police called back. They'd found my laptop. It was confirmed Ethan had taken it. They returned it to me and I pressed no charges, though I easily could have. That night, I sat staring at the screen, wondering how love could rot into something this toxic. My mom hadn't called back since. The next week, I got a letter from her, handwritten, the first one in years. I opened it cautiously. She wrote, "I can't believe you humiliated your own brother like that. You've become someone I don't even recognize. Money has poisoned your heart." I didn't reply. I didn't even finish reading it. I folded it, put it away, and decided that silence would be my final word. Over the next few months, things started to shift. Some relatives began reaching out again, curious to hear my side. I didn't badmouth her. I just told the truth. I stopped giving, and that's when they stopped loving. It was strange, watching people's faces when I said that. Some nodded quietly. Others looked uncomfortable. But no one called me selfish anymore. One day, Sarah, the cousin who'd offered me refuge, invited me to dinner. Over pasta, she said, "You did the right thing. Everyone's talking about how brave you were to finally say no." I smiled. "It doesn't feel brave. It just feels necessary," she nodded. "That's what boundaries are." That conversation stayed with me. For the first time in years, I realized I wasn't broken or cruel for standing up for myself. I was healing. Then out of nowhere, another message came from my mom. It said, "Ethan's in trouble. Please call me." I stared at the screen for a long time. I didn't want to fall for another guilt trap, but part of me still cared. That small, quiet part that remembered the woman who once tucked me into bed and told me she loved me. I took a deep breath and typed, "What happened?" She replied instantly, "He got arrested." I don't know what to do, and just like that, the story took a turn I never expected. When she said arrested, my first instinct was disbelief. Ethan was reckless, sure, but jail? I called her. She answered instantly, her voice shaking. "They took him this morning. Something about credit card fraud and stolen electronics." I don't understand. I sat down slowly, the weight of it sinking in. I remembered that stolen laptop, the messages, the arrogance in his tone. Maybe I should have pressed charges then. Maybe this wouldn't have happened. She started crying. They said he could face prison time. "You have to help him." There it was again. That reflex, the expectation that I would fix what he broke. "Mom," I said quietly, "he needs a lawyer, not me." "You can pay for one," she shot back. "You've got money. Don't let your brother rot in a cell." Something inside me twisted. Part guilt, part exhaustion. "Do you hear yourself?" I asked. "He stole from me. You defended him. Now you want me to clean it up?" Her voice cracked. "He's still your brother." "And I'm still your son," I said. "But that didn't stop you from choosing him every time." She went silent. Then she whispered, "Please, I don't know what else to do." That was the first time I'd ever heard her sound small. The woman who always controlled every situation suddenly didn't know how to handle this one. I didn't say yes, but I didn't hang up either. After we ended the call, I just sat there staring at the wall. Every part of me wanted to let them deal with it. But another part, the tired, still caring part, wondered if walking away would make me just like her. The next day, I called a lawyer I knew through work and explained the situation. I didn't promise to cover the fees, but I asked for advice. He said, "If you want to help without getting pulled back in, keep everything through me. Don't deal with them directly." That sounded reasonable. I agreed. When I told my mom that a lawyer would reach out, she burst into tears. "Thank you," she said. "I knew you'd come around." Her words didn't feel like gratitude. They felt like victory. Still, I helped. Not because she guilted me, but because I needed closure. Weeks passed. The lawyer kept me updated. Ethan was facing multiple counts of fraud and theft, some charges tied to the same electronics he'd stolen from others. He'd been caught reselling them online. It wasn't just me. It was a pattern. At first, I felt angry. Then something shifted. I stopped seeing Ethan as my rival and started seeing him as what he really was, a broken man chasing validation the only way he knew how. Mom called often now, softer this time. She asked about my days, about work. I could tell she was trying to rebuild something, but I didn't know if I could let her in. One evening, she said, "I keep thinking about what you said, about boundaries. I didn't understand before. I thought love meant giving, even when it hurt. But I see now that I took from you because I didn't know any other way to keep you close. I didn't know how to respond. I just listened." Then she said, "He might go away for a while. They said maybe a year or two. I don't know how to handle that." I took a long breath. Maybe it's what he needs. Time to face himself. There was silence. Then she said, "And maybe I need that too." For the first time in my life, my mother wasn't arguing. She was reflecting. It was strange, almost tender. When Ethan was finally sentenced, I didn't go to court. I couldn't. But I sent a short letter through his lawyer. It said, "I don't hate you. I just hope this wakes you up. A month later, I got a reply. Handwritten, shaky letters, but real. Bro, I messed up. I thought you had it easy because you were responsible. I didn't see how hard you worked. Mom made me think you were lucky. But you weren't. You were disciplined. I'm sorry for everything. I read it twice. Then a third time. Something loosened in my chest. It didn't erase the past, but it made it lighter. Mom called again after that. She sounded older, quieter. He wants to see you when he gets out, she said. We'll see, I told her. Months passed. Life felt normal again. My condo felt peaceful. I started a new project at work, traveled a bit, met people who didn't know anything about my family history. For the first time, my success didn't feel like a secret or a burden. Then one afternoon, I came home and saw a small package at my door. No return label. I opened it carefully. Inside was a photo, me, Ethan, and Mom at a park years ago. We were smiling. On the back, someone had written, "Let's start over someday." I didn't cry. But I did sit there for a long time thinking about how messy love can be. How sometimes distance saves relationships more than closeness ever could. Months turned into a year. I sent letters to Ethan in prison every few weeks. Nothing long, just updates. Sometimes he replied, sometimes he didn't. Mom visited him often. Slowly, she stopped blaming me. She started owning her part. One day, she told me, "I've started volunteering at a community center, helping single mothers with financial planning. I think I'm learning how to give without taking." That line stayed with me. For the first time, I felt proud of her. When Ethan was finally released, he called me. His voice was calm. "I'm trying to do better." Got a part-time job at a warehouse. "Not much, but it's honest work," I said. "That's more than enough." He hesitated. "Mom wants us to have dinner. Just the three of us." I didn't say yes right away, but after a few days, I agreed. When I walked into that restaurant, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. Mom stood up when she saw me. She looked smaller, gentler. Ethan gave me a nervous smile. Dinner was quiet, awkward at first, then lighter as we talked about normal things. Work, food, even funny memories from childhood. No one mentioned money. No one argued. When we left, Mom hugged me. "Thank you for giving us another chance," she said. I smiled. "Just don't waste it." Ethan laughed softly. "No promises, but I'll try." That night, driving home, I realized that love doesn't always look like forgiveness or staying connected. Sometimes it's learning when to step back, when to say no, and when to give people space to change. I thought about that little boy version of me who kept trying to earn love. I wished I could tell him that love doesn't have to be earned. It just has to be respected. As I pulled into my driveway, I looked at my condo, my own space, my own peace, and smiled. It wasn't just a home anymore. It was proof that I could build something solid, even after everything had fallen apart. Later that night, I texted Mom. "Dinner was nice. Let's do it again sometime." She replied, "I'd like that." And for once, there was no hidden meaning behind her words. Just honesty. I put my phone down and let the silence fill the room. It didn't feel heavy anymore. It felt earned. Because sometimes, peace isn't found in running away or fighting back. It's in choosing who gets access to your heart, and realizing that even when family fails you, you can still choose love without losing yourself.